tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Surrender and freedom. In fact, surrender and freedom are not two different things. In surrender, there is freedom. If surrender is done with an understanding and willingly. Usually when we hear the word surrender, it brings to mind a sort of helplessness, that of to surrender. Like the losing army surrenders to the winning army. That's why the surrender word is used. And therefore often in surrender there is unwillingness, helplessness, a resistance towards what I have to do. In life we do surrender very often to the forces that are more powerful than we are. When we cannot have our way, and we have to willingly or unwillingly accept somebody's way. This is how surrender is generally understood. But that is not the meaning in which we use the word surrender. In Sanskrit, the word is sharanagati. Sharanam means the refuge. So that is called Sharana or Sharanya, who is a refuge, under whose protection we feel safe and secure, we feel comfortable, we feel accepted, we feel loved. Like a little child feels with mother. Mother is, you can say, the refuge, the protector. And the child has complete confidence in the mother, just instinctively, because it knows that it is being loved by mother. Mother takes care of the child in every way. There is an unconditional acceptance by mother. In that knowledge or understanding or experience, the child feels completely safe, secure, happy. So this is the kind of surrender that we are talking about. Where in surrendering, in taking refuge of someone who is my protector, in whom I have complete confidence or trust, where I let go of all my resistance, I let go of all my worries and anxieties, and I feel totally free from worries, anxieties. I feel totally free, understand? That freedom from anxieties, freedom from fear, freedom from worries is the freedom. If those things were not there, if anxieties were not there in our life, or worries were not there, fear was not there, then I will be free to be myself. then I'll be comfortable with myself and comfortable with everything that is around me. And thus a total sense of comfort. A sense of comfort with myself and a comfort with what is freedom. When there is no worry, no anxiety, no fear of being judged, no fear of being rejected, when I feel a total acceptance, that I'm able to accept everything and I feel totally accepted. That is what we mean by freedom. When Vedanta talks about freedom, it does not talk of any otherworldly stuff or some kind of unusual experience or an unusual situation or some kind of light and bliss, something that happens. Although people understand it that way, and Vedantins also understand that way. But in my opinion, Vedanta is very simple, down to earth, and enables us to live our life happily and comfortably. We have to live life in this world as long as we are, and at that time we should be happy and comfortable and free. That is called freedom. And what makes me a sense, what creates in me a sense of bondage or helplessness are these worries and fears and anxieties. And therefore we are always seeking freedom from anxiety, freedom from fear, freedom from worries. And where we get that is called sharanam or refuge. Like a little child feels in the lap of the mother. And you can, in that relationship, on the part of mother who is a sharanya or protector, there is an unconditional acceptance of the child. Other people may judge the child in their own way, but from mother, there is an unconditional acceptance. And therefore love and care and protection without any expectation. The mother has no expectation from that infant as to what it should do. The most interesting or beautiful thing is that by the very presence, the infant makes the mother feel accepted. Mother also feels loved. And by its very presence, that little child is able to create or manifest or display unconditional love, like we have it from our pets, you know. The reason why people love pets is because they give us an unconditional love. Some condition may be there, you have to feed and you have to take care of it. Other than that, when the minimum needs are satisfied, you get from them an unconditional love, which is what our heart is thirsting for, because we never get it from anywhere else. World has people, and people have their own limitations, their own needs, their own agenda. It's very rare that we have a relationship which is totally free from agenda. Because I feel a sense of lack and limitation within myself, that there is always an agenda where I have some expectation from you that you will give me comfort, that you will give me security, you will give me happiness. The agenda is always there in every interaction. And we feel that I am relating to a person who has an agenda. And I also have an agenda, so I cannot give an unconditional love to the other person and vice versa. Because we are what we are, limited beings. The only place where you can feel a sense of total acceptance is with an entity who has no agenda at all, who has no need. An agenda shows I have a certain need, and the agenda is to fulfill that need. And since we are limited, we are needy. And therefore, there is always one or the other kind of agenda to fulfill a given need which I feel at that time. Who will not have an agenda? One who is free from all the needs. And who is that? That is what we call Ishvara. Our Swami liked to use the word Ishvara rather than God. You can use the word God, except the Swami felt that with the word God there are so many connotations, because God is preached in some ways, and therefore we may have already some kind of preconceived notions, prejudices for God also. Ishvara, who we look upon as a creator, sustainer, dissolver of the universe, who is omniscient, all-knowing, omnipotent, all-powerful. That's the concept of Ishvara. And Ishvara alone really has the qualification of being a refuge or Sharanya or protector in a true sense, because he abides in his own wholeness, fullness, completeness. In fact, completeness is our nature also. Unfortunately, we are denied the benefit of that completeness on account of ignorance. It is ignorance that creates a sense of lack or want in me, and that is what makes me a needy person. So being needy is not my nature, but that's what right now I find myself to be. And who can become my refuge? Where can I ideally surrender? There, where there is no need. Meaning that one who has no expectation from me. And then only I can be unconditionally accepted by that other entity. So Ishvara, being full and complete, being free from all the needs and expectations, therefore he accepts us as we are. He has no agenda for us. In fact, he is ready to do whatever is required to fulfill our agenda. This is our understanding of Ishvara, who has no agenda because who has no need. And when a person has no agenda, no need, then naturally whatever that person does is to fulfill others' needs, understand? We do whatever we do to fulfill a need. When I have no need of my own, then whatever I do will be in response to someone else's need. A wise person is like that. Of course, Ishvara is like that. So this is our understanding of Ishvara, who is free from all demands and expectations, who has no partiality, no cruelty, in whose perception everybody is equal. Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshyosti na priya. Lord Krishna says that I am equally there in everybody is equal in my perception. I have no partiality and no cruelty. It is not that I abide more in one person and abide less in another person. I fully abide in everybody. Everybody is the same in my perception. So thus Ishvara is an ideal refuge, where just as a child, you can say, surrenders to mother, and there it is surrendering of all the worries and anxieties. What else is there to surrender? So in whose lap we become free from all worries and anxieties. That is called Sharanya. So this is what we mean by surrender. It is done willingly on account of my assurance and my confidence and trust that Ishvara has no agenda and that I am totally acceptable to Ishvara as I am. We accept people conditionally. As long as they satisfy our conditions, so long they remain acceptable. And when they fail or refuse to satisfy the condition, then they no more remain favorable to us. What we love is the pleased self. And as long as you are a means of pleasing me, so long you are object of love. When you start displeasing me, then you no more remain object of love. This is how our relations are. But in as much as Ishvara is always pleased, because happiness is a nature and therefore everybody is accepted unconditionally. And really, it is not Ishvara who is only like that, we are also like that basically. And the goal of life is to be able to see myself also as a complete being. One who is free from all agenda, from all needs. And that is how Bhagavad Gita describes a wise person. Lord Krishna says, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. Hey Partha, hey Arjuna, when a person becomes free from all the needs and demands and desires, a totally non-demanding person. And non-demanding is not something that we can will, it has to happen. I cannot willingly become non-demanding as long as there are some needs within myself. My demand may not be expressed outwardly, but inwardly it is there. And usually whenever I interact with you, in my mind there is a desire as to how you can fulfill my demand. How I can make you a means of fulfilling my demand. How I can use you. This is usually, the way we relate. But a wise person doesn't have any need, therefore he doesn't have to use anybody, because then he is useful to everybody. This is our privilege to become that, understand. The purpose of life is to become free from all needs and expectations and demands. I will say yesterday also, when Swami used to quote this, what is called progress? Progress is converting luxuries into necessities. What is luxury now, in course of time, becomes my necessity, meaning that I become dependent upon that. I cannot do without it. So we want to reverse that process. Converting luxuries into necessities into luxuries. That's the process of freedom. The process of bondage is converting luxuries into necessities. The freedom is converting necessities into luxuries. Then you can imagine at least even a condition where everything is a luxury. In fact, to be is a luxury, imagine. Just the fact that I am itself is a luxury. If I feel that I exist, I am, and that itself is a great luxury, then everything else is luxury because everything else is. So that is called total freedom. This is what we are seeking. And surrender becomes a means of this kind of freedom. We have been talking last 3 nights that very often our understanding of freedom itself is not right. We interpret freedom as the freedom to do what we want to do, and say what we want to say. That is called the human rights, and that's the freedom. Nothing against that. But in doing what I want to do, eating what I want to eat, drinking what I want to drink, etc., behaving the way I want, I may feel I am free from the control of the world. But at that time, I am controlled by my impulses anyway. My cravings control me. My attachments control me. My aversions control me. So even when I express the so-called freedom to do or to be what I want to be, by my hairstyle, by my dress, by my speech, by whichever way, it is something within me, some impulse within me that controls me anyway. So the freedom that the world understands is not the freedom. When there is freedom from all my inner cravings and impulses, that's the true freedom. When I become free from needs, free from agenda, free from need to control you, free from need to control anybody. And when would that happen? When I am able to happily accept you as you are. When I can love everything as it is. When I love myself as I am, and therefore love everybody and everything as they are. When I unconditionally accept myself and able to accept unconditionally everything else, that's called freedom. Because then there is no conflict. When I do not unconditionally accept you, then inside there is a conflict with what you are. Because I am not happy with the way you are, I can be happy only when you change to satisfy my expectations. So that is the true freedom, when I can relate without expectations. So that is what Vedanta means by freedom. It is not some otherworldly stuff. It is a down-to-earth stuff that we are living in day-to-day life. And that's all we want. Nobody wants miracles and nobody wants, there are all kinds of spiritual fascinations are there, or romanticism is there. Spiritual romanticism, something blissed out, something happened, etc. That maybe we don't deny it is not there. But then that is not what we are seeking. We are seeking to be simply ourselves, that's all. And we ourselves happen to be beautiful and free and complete. And therefore, just being ourselves is enough for us. And when I am what I am, there is a total harmony within myself, a total comfort and acceptance of myself. And therefore, there is harmony with everything. That is what we mean by freedom. Is this freedom that Vedanta, because if you even study Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna does not describe any otherworldly thing as far as a free person is concerned. We said, Lord Krishna says a person is free, he is free from all demands and expectations and needs. Because he is totally happy with himself, totally accepting of himself. And when I am happy and satisfied with myself, I am happy and satisfied with everything else. So that is called moksha. Then there is no reaction, totally free from reactions. Lord Krishna says, Vita raga bhaya krodha. This wise person, on account of seeing himself as, what is wisdom is? Seeing myself as I am. When there are no projections. Then he becomes free from raga. Vita raga bhaya krodha becomes free from raga, bhaya and krodha. That's freedom. Raga means attachment. Bhaya means fear, Krodha means anger. So these three typically represent the variety of impulses that we have. And whenever any one of these impulses arises within me, I become helpless. Attachment makes me helpless. Aversion makes me helpless. Anger makes me helpless. Fear makes me helpless. So each one of these impulses is nothing but the sign of helplessness or bondage. So who is a free person? Free from helplessness, free from impulses. So Lord Krishna describes the wise person as Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha, from whom the Raga, Bhaya and Krodha have gone. He is not given up. They have given him up. Understand? When attachment and aversions give me up because I am no good for them, anger gives me up, fear gives me up. If I give them up, then they will come back. If they give me up, then there is no question of their coming back. So Vitaragavak, that is moksha. It's very simple. Freedom is a very simple thing. But our Swami used to say, it is not simple to be a simple person. Otherwise, a wise person is a simple person. And you look at the life of any great people, any wise people, you find their life very simple. They are down to earth people. I mean, they are of course enlightened people and they are loving, but then at the same time, nothing unusual about their life. They eat the same rice that we eat and they walk on the same earth that we and speak the same language. To attain a freedom, the freedom like that, which is what we are seeking, surrender becomes a means. Surrender to whom? Surrender to Ishvara. When we recite the mantra Om Namah Shivaya, for example, Namah means salutation, which in fact represents surrender. Namaha, let go. So surrender can also be explained as letting go. And letting go of what? Letting go of something which is a burden to me. When these mountaineers, when they climb mountains, they just carry one backpack with them and climb. As you climb to higher and higher altitudes, you find that your backpack is becoming heavier and heavier, Your strength is getting exhausted. As you climb high, the air becomes thinner. And you find that the backpack, which was all right at the level, in the ground level, is slowly becoming heavier and heavier. So you know what these mountaineers do? They start dropping things. That is not that, although backpack contains things that it needs, but he finds, okay, I can do without this. Let's go. Let's go. Let go. Let go. But the time he is ready to reach, is about to reach the summit. The only thing that he kept himself was one apple. Because that's that's all he may need if he's hungry. Then also he lets go. So this is letting go of something which is a burden to me, which is an obstacle to my climbing, which is an obstacle to my freedom, obstacle to what I want to be. That is what you let go. So in surrender, it is not that we let go something which is beneficial to us or useful to us. We let go of that which is a burden to us. However, what is burden to us depends upon our perception at a given time. The whole backpack was not a burden when he was on the ground level. But as he climbs, his perception changes. And everything appears to be burden. One by one he gives up the burden. This is just an example. Similarly, many things we are holding on to. holding on to attachments and aversions and possessions because we look upon them as the source of security. As I realize that what I look upon as a source of security is in fact a burden to me. What I thought was useful really is binding me. What I thought was a source of happiness is in fact not so. What I thought was giving me security is not so. This is discovered. As we discover the limitations of the things, as we discover the fact that they are not in fact helpful to me but they are a burden to me, that is when I let go happily. So letting go is not out of, again, any kind of helplessness. You let go happily. Mundukopanishad describes Parikshalokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedamaya nasta krutah krutena. When a contemplative person contemplates upon his or her life, takes a stock of his life, a balance sheet of life. One balance sheet is in terms of my income and expenditure. Other balance sheet is in terms of the self-satisfaction that I have. The satisfaction that I have, a balance sheet of the satisfaction. That 25 years ago when I had this in terms of material possessions, how much satisfied was I? And then my possessions kept on increasing as possessions and my name and fame, everything started increasing. In that sense, of course, I was becoming more and more successful person. But if I ask myself whether did all of this contribute to my self-satisfaction or not? When I had very limited things, then whatever satisfaction I had with me, now that I have plenty of things, am I more satisfied? Or am I still craving for more and more things? So the balance sheet should be in terms of self-satisfaction, satisfaction in life. Because self-satisfaction means happiness. So am I a happier person? Am I a more satisfied person? If not, so this person recognizes that in spite of these worldly achievements here and hereafter also, there is no change in my sense of self-satisfaction, meaning that I still remain a seeker, I still remain a person free, not free from cravings and expectations. Then what kind of success have I got in my life? It is this that helps us to recognize that whatever I consider as a source of happiness and security do not contribute that. That happiness and security I have to achieve from myself. So that recognition when it comes, that's a great letting go. Letting go of the false value that I assign to so many things. Thinking or hoping that they are going to make me happier and more satisfied or more secure. I realize that's not so. And that is not the fault of anything, that's how things are. We are in fact projecting upon things a sense of happiness and security, and then we expect from them. For they project upon you that you are my source of security, and then I expect security from you, and then it does not come, then I become dissatisfied. I become disillusioned. But when we realize that it is our mind that projects, is looking for satisfaction where it is not, and is not looking where it is, which is my own self. That's how letting go happens. So this is the kind of letting go of surrender that we are talking about. So, namaha means surrender, acceptance of what is. Then if you look at our life, past, present and future. In the past, if I recollect my past, it is quite likely that there may have been people in my life who have caused me pain and hurt as I was growing up. It generally happens. If you're lucky, then you may be saved from these things. If you are Buddha, you are protected life. But generally, when we are exposed even to our own relatives and people, an uncle, for example, can be always teasing you and comparing you with his own son and showing you how you are not as good as him. My father, in fact, may be looking at you and telling me that you are not as good as your brother, not as good as your cousin, not as good as your friend. It is not uncommon that even people who are close to us also, without any intention, keep on pulling us down for their own agenda, of course. Because everybody has an agenda and they relate to me from their own agenda, and therefore very often I find I am put down. I am no good. My feelings are hurt. I feel rejected. Number of just events have happened in my past. And therefore we carry with ourselves a lot of that pain coming from the past. There is in our mind also anger towards some people, resentment towards some people, because we feel that injustice was done to us, that they were not fair to us, we were treated in an unfair manner or unjust manner. No, this is our perception. That may not be so. Even other person may not have meant to be unfair to me, but I perceive that way. Our Swami says it is child's perception. As we are growing up, we are not mature enough. We have our own perception, our own way of judging things and concluding. In my judgment and conclusion, there are many people in the past who in my perception have caused me hurt and treated me and abused or treated me unfairly. So number one, we have this, what we call the hurt that we are carrying from the past. Similarly, there may be many occasions when I also was unfair to other people. Because when we get angry and then we dominate other people, we want to control other people in our own way. So hurts and guilts of the past is the burden or the load that we are carrying or the baggage we are carrying from the past. What is coming in the way of the peace of our mind? What makes us unhappy or sad sometimes for no reason at all is all this baggage of the past, which can be summarized as hurts and guilts. Hurts on account of what other people did to me, and guilt on account of what I did to others, in my perception. So we can begin with surrender here. How to let go of these hurts and guilts in surrendering to Ishvara. That we are told that whatever happens to us in our life is all the result of our past karma. Sometimes a very cruel way of saying, is that this is your karma. Sometimes people go to see sick people in the hospitals and then also they say, your karma. That karma is not meant to be used that way. But there is this law of karma, meaning the law of simple cause and effect. That effect cannot be unless there is a cause. Something cannot happen unless there was a reason for it. And we have no other answer. People keep asking, Swami, why should this happen to me? What have I done in my life to deserve this? Why should this happen to my wife, to my son, to myself, to my mother? I said, I don't know. We have no knowledge at all of why things are happening. Nobody can tell you. An astrologer can try to say something, but then you need to be all-knowing to say why a given thing happens. You have to be omniscient. There is no other way, because the whole universe comes into play in every event, and therefore you must know all universal variables to know why a given thing happened. So there is no way that you and I can ever tell why a given thing happened. Nor should we try to say that also. All I can say is some reason must be there, and that reason is karma. Swami, am I a sinner like that? What kind of karma do I have? No. This karma, not good, bad or indifferent, is karma that results into, the past karma results into present. How do we bring this into effect in our past experiences? That I realized that I was treated in unjust manner, unfair manner, that I was hurt by other people, abused by other people. I can say that was all the result of my own past karma. It is not that a particular person abused me or hurt me. That person simply became an instrument to create an experience for me which I was meant to go through as a result of my karma. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is 11th canto, which is, excellent teaching of Lord Krishna to Uddhava. Then there is a story of one bhikshu, of a renunciate, who was tortured by people. And his resolution was, whatever is happening to me is happening because of my own karma. And these people are simply instruments in creating situations so that I can go through the result, effect of my karma. For example, if my karma is meant to give me pain, a painful situation has to be created. And somebody has to play their part to create that painful situation for me. Meaning that somebody also was not much more than a puppet in the hands of the one who pulls the strings. So Ishvara is a puppeteer who pulls the strings and makes people behave the way they do. And since I was meant to go through a certain experience as a result of my own past karma, this person was so prompted, Ishvara must have pulled those strings and made him act in a certain manner so as to create the situation as a result of which I had to go through a pain. You follow? This is a way to look at things. Because it's all law. Nothing can happen without a reason. Why should that person hurt me? It cannot be without the reason. That's where karma comes in. Our Swami used to say karma is a big shock absorber. Usually when something happens to us, we blame other people. We hold them responsible and we blame them, and we have anger or resentment towards them which we carry in our life. Because when we cannot explain something, we blame somebody. The karma enables us to become free from this blaming game. Why did it happen? Because of karma. Why did this fellow do something to me? Because of my karma. It is my karma who made that person act in a certain way to create an experience which is because of which, I went through that pain. You follow? It's, oh Swami, that I am doing everything, Ishvara is doing everything. But why should there be his pain, Swamiji? Why can't Ishvara be his kind? That why does he cause pain to people as a result of karma? That's another difficulty we have. So why Swamiji, why if Ishvara gave us birth, why did he give us death also? Why should there be old age? Why should there be disease? Why should there be pain? Why should there be suffering? Again, giving benefit of doubt to Ishvara. That's called surrender. I mean, I have trust that he is my well-wisher. Who is a refuge? One who is my well-wisher. And Lord Krishna claims also. Suhridam sarvabhutanam, Lord Krishna says that I am the well-wisher of all the beings. There is no partiality, no cruelty. In fact, all that is I just only shower my grace. What do you mean showering your grace? Is the way to shower your grace that I got a bang on my head? Is that how you shower your grace? That can also be. Again, giving him the benefit of doubt. That's called Shraddha. That it must be a blessing in disguise. Sometimes blessings come openly. Sometimes they come in disguise. So maybe pain which also I have to go through in my life is in some way a blessing in disguise. That it is meant for my growth. Because no pain, no gain. When a sculptor takes a rough and tough stone and carves out a beautiful form out of that stone, that poor stone has to undergo a lot of pain, a lot of blows it has to undergo. And it would not be happy at all because it becomes the subject of, the blows of the hammer and chisel. But as a result, what comes out is the inherent beauty in that stone. Similarly also, we can give Ishvara a benefit of doubt that he is a sculptor who intends well of me. That when he even gives me pain, the purpose is not to hurt me, not to punish me, to remove various obstacles or avaranam, what we call, what is veiling my beauty, remove those obstacles to bring out the beautiful self from within me. So this is called surrender. Surrender means giving benefit of doubt to Ishvara. What is doubt? Benefit? That he is my well-wisher. He is Suhrud or my well-wisher. Because why should he have to punish me? You can punish somebody when you get angry. But would Ishvara ever get angry? Who can get angry? Anger always comes from unfulfilled demand. We get angry towards somebody when our demand is not fulfilled. Now, Ishvara can get angry provided his demand is not fulfilled. But that is called Ishvara who is no demand. Who abides in his wholeness and fullness, therefore is no demand, no expectation. He can only give, he cannot demand. If Ishvara is like that, in that case he cannot punish anybody because punishment requires anger. Anger requires unfulfilled demand. When there is no demand, there can be no unfulfillment, no anger, no punishment. So our understanding of Ishvara is that he is nothing but the embodiment of grace. Anugraha or grace. But then if Lord, you are showering your grace upon everybody, then how come we see that some people are happy and others are not happy? Some people seem to have the benefit of your grace, others don't have it. Why is it so? If you claim yourself to be the well-wisher of everybody, that you only love everybody or shower your grace upon everybody, favor upon everybody, then how come different people seem to have different amount of favor? Why is it so? Because to receive that favor, we also need to do something. Like the sun shines equally for everybody. Sun has no partiality towards somebody that I will withhold my light from this person and I will shower more light to other person. There is no partiality, no difference. And still our home can be in darkness if there is no window open. Therefore, we have to open the window to let the light come in to illumine our home. That part we have to do. Thus, in experience of grace, not only Ishvara's part is there, that he showers his grace, but a little for our part also is there, in as much as we have to open the window of our heart for that grace to flow. Otherwise, there will be no order at all. So, in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the first line, Lord Krishna says that I am equal to everybody. I am not partial to anybody, I am equal to everybody. If you are equal to everybody, then how come other people seem to experience your favor in different degrees? Why? So Lord Krishna says, Ye bhajanti maam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. Those who worship me with devotion, they receive my grace. My grace is always there. The shower is there. If you walk in the shower with your umbrella open, then you can't enjoy that shower. Then you can't complain that, this fellow is this shower, rain also is partial. It is depriving me of the joy. And look at how happy other people are. Just close your umbrella. So also, as long as umbrella of this ego is there so long, even though the grace is showered upon us, we fail to experience that. So those who open their doors experience my grace. In short, in order to receive that grace, we also need, but this is called Shraddha. This is how we open the door, by acceptance of Ishvara in our life. What is meant by surrendering to Ishvara is bringing Ishvara into our life, accepting Ishvara into our life. Giving him the benefit of doubt that he is always blessing us. He always showers his grace upon us. He always means well of us. He is always our well-wisher. In pleasure and pain, whatever he does, he only means well to us. This is tough, Swamiji. How can you accept that? That is called Shraddha. That's called surrender. What is surrendering? Surrendering of my resistance to Ishvara. Because I have my own notions of how Ishvara should be. Keep on judging him based on my notions and criteria. To drop those criteria and an unconditional acceptance of Ishvara. This is called bhakti or surrender or devotion. Thus, if we look at our life of the past hurts, and we realize that even through those, what was meant is that we were made to experience the results of our own karma, that people were simply puppets in the hands of Ishvara. That they did not, they were made to act in a certain manner, and therefore there is no fault of theirs that they did what they did. You follow? In that case, I will have no anger or resentment. There will be what we call forgiveness. So, kshama or forgiveness towards all those who have caused hurt to me in the past. Of course, the same rule will apply in the present, but right now we want to become free from the baggage that we have been carrying from the past, and which is what is causing obstacles right now. The hurt, the baggage of hurts and guilt is what is causing right now the obstacles. Makes my mind sad. Sometimes we find ourselves sad for no reason at all. It's all this baggage. That's what is doing that. So letting go of this baggage by unconditionally accepting Ishvara in our life. No hurt. But Swamiji, what about guilt? I hurt other people. How can I forgive myself? You can forgive others because they hurt, if they hurt you. But when I hurt the people, well, forgive yourself. I also acted in a certain manner. Maybe I also became a puppet in the hands of Ishvara and acted in a certain manner to work out that fellow's karma, who knows? Thus, if by law of karma I can forgive other people, I can equally forgive myself also. So all the sense of hurt can be dealt with. It will not happen overnight, by the way. I'm saying it in a few minutes, but this is a long process. Because the resentment which is there in our heart is deeply rooted. And even if I forgive the person, once it comes back again, then again I go through this process of reminding myself that that person was merely a puppet, and he did or she did what they did as motivated by my own karma, and therefore they deserve my forgiveness. It comes again and again and again and again and again we have to do this. This forgiving that arises from a true understanding. I forgive you. That is not forgiving. I forgive everybody. You don't. Because you keep the resentment in your mind anyway. Forgiving doesn't mean that I don't react. That is not the only thing. There is no resentment in the mind also. So this is one kind of surrender. This is surrender to Ishvara by accepting Ishvara as the one that is embodiment of grace and well-being, and he is my well-wisher. In that assurance, in that trust, I can let go of whatever anger and resentment I have towards other people, and I can let go also the resentment that I may have towards myself, because that is what makes me feel guilty. Hurt and guilt of the past. This we can deal by surrendering to Ishvara. That is karma phaladata. He is the one that dispenses of the results of my action. That whatever happened in my life was the result of my actions. For which there is nobody to blame. I cannot blame Ishvara because he only responded to my karma. I cannot blame myself because I don't know when I did those things. I cannot blame other people because they only acted as determined by Ishvara. Nobody to blame. Karma is to blame, and karma comes from ignorance. So you can blame ignorance if you want to. To become free from blaming is a very important thing. Free from blaming, from resentment, from anger, from hurt, from guilt. This is called surrender to Ishvara. And what I am surrendering is nothing but the burden which I am carrying, the baggage which I am carrying from the past. If you don't surrender anything that is useful to us, this baggage is surrender. In light of understanding, when we talk of trust in Ishvara, it is not a misplaced trust or it is a blind trust. It is enlightened trust. You follow? A trust arising from an understanding of Ishvara. That Ishvara or Bhagavan cannot be, he being what he is, full and complete in himself. Therefore, he cannot have any demands and he cannot have any agenda. He cannot have any demands. He cannot be angry. He cannot punish. He can only love. So whatever I receive is that love in one form or the other. It is this understanding that brings about a trust in Ishvara. That enables me to bring Ishvara in every situation, which helps me to resolve all those situations. Thus, becoming free from the burden of the past is the first thing. Then we come to the present and future. Past, present and future. So surrendering to Ishvara, as far as the past is concerned, is by way of kshama, of forgiveness, which arises from an understanding. Not arising from hell. I forgive you. No. I understand, and that's how forgiveness automatically happens. Makes me a more large-hearted person. Makes me a more tolerant person. Makes me more sympathetic to others. The others are what they are because that is what they are. When somebody hurts me, it is because that person also is hurt. No happy person can hurt anybody else. The way other people have hurt me in the past is out of their own inner pain. And therefore, as I say, looking at the person behind the behavior, a two-step response. First step response is responding to behavior, in which case I will react with anger or resentment. A two-step response is recognizing the person behind that behavior. A person who himself is in pain. It is that pain that caused pain to me, and therefore, when I see the person in pain, naturally my sympathy arises. And from that sympathy, a kshama or forgiveness arises. So this is surrendering to Ishvara by accepting Ishvara as my well-wisher, as the one who is omniscient, who knows what is good for me. So whatever he has done to me has been, even though I did not understand at that time, now with this new understanding I am able to resolve everything in the past. So that's how becoming free from the burden of the past. We'll take a break and we'll continue in the next class.